morning, equity agents. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the sales meeting. I'm going to give this a couple minutes just to make sure our tech is working. Okay, I see that we're online. I hope you guys can hear me. And feel free to drop me a comment if you're here with me. I see 4 people online currently. I'm going to give it just a couple minutes. All right, good morning. I'm seeing people log in. Happy Wednesday, sales meeting day. I hope you guys are enjoying the snow out there. And I see some people online. Good morning, Rita. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Good morning, Trish. Good to see you online. And while I'm letting people join, I'll just quickly mention there is a lot of tech going on right now. So there's Zoom, there's Facebook streaming, there's my comments on my iPad here. So there's lots of monitoring. So bear with me. Todd and Stacy, they make it look so easy as they're managing all these technology pieces. So who else do we have? Good morning, Dominic. Good to see you online. Good morning, Shelly. Good morning, Kevin. And let's see. Good morning, Sarah there. I saw your comment. Good morning. All right, well, we have a great sales meeting planned today. We've got a couple guest speakers that I'm excited to introduce you to, as well as a ton of new agents to introduce you to, about 20 in the last couple months. And then we've got some fun pop quiz items that I'll be going through with you today. And I think, to dive in, I always like to start with a motivational quote, to keep your week moving forward. And today I chose the quote, "Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't." And I just really liked that quote. And part of this stems from, we're teaching our Brian Buffini Peak Producers course right now. And those students, they're giving it their all. They're facing the difficult activities that I'm sure you guys know of, the cold calls, maybe not cold calls, the warm calls, calling your sphere, and pushing themselves outside of their comfort zones. And for all of you going through something like that right now in life, whether it's business or personal, keep pushing. And it's so fun to look back on those big things that you thought you might not be able to accomplish, those items that are outside of your comfort zone. And you can one day say that you did those things. And for me, I'll share it with you. It's doing more of these sales meetings. So as you can see, I'm doing the sales meeting on my own today. I am trying to volunteer for these, so I can look back and say, hey, I never thought I could run a couple sales meetings by myself. And so that's my goal here is to do more sales meetings, to get in front of you guys more. So Todd and Stacy were kind enough to give me that opportunity. So go out there, crush the week, do something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, because that's what it's all about, growth and learning. So that's my words of wisdom, my motivation. So moving right along, we'll quickly welcome our new agents before our first guest speaker arrives. And yet lots and lots of great agents have joined our company, and many of them were referred by you. So thank you for the great referrals. If you are a new agent watching who has joined us, be sure to introduce yourself in the comments section of our video here. And also, we've got these really neat equity e-pins. So if you haven't stopped by the office, I signed so many agents over Zoom now. This is just the way the world operates. Please reach out. Feel free to swing by the office, and I'll be happy to get you one of these equity E lapel pins. And these meetings are all about introducing and meeting other equity agents. So be sure to introduce yourselves in the comments section. And next, I wanted to quickly highlight some of your referrals. So the people who are referring agents to equity. So a big thank you To the agents on screen here, we've got Bobby Barajas, who referred Misty Emerson. Misty's up in our Grand County office with Marcel Savoy. Great for referrals if you need people up in that area. We've got Rocio Cantelli, who referred Kiara Nahera. Rocio Cantelli also referred Gloria Montoya. Thank you, Rocio. We've got Diana Bartlett, who referred Eric Jensen, and Renee Worth, who referred D. Ellis. Thank you so much for your referrals. I know we probably talk about it, but we've grown our brokerage primarily by referral. It's, happy agents referring other happy agents. And that is a huge factor to the outstanding culture that we've created here at Equities. So thank you for your referrals. If you know anybody who could benefit from what we're doing here at Equity, send them my way. I would be happy to take good care of them and add them to our team. So thank you. And I'm going to peek at our comments here, see who's online. Bear with me. I see we've got a good amount of viewers here. And my iPad is not being so kind with the comments. Bear with me, people. I'm going to just make sure everybody's good, make sure the tech is working. Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Caitlin. Good morning, Crystal. Good morning, Dee. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, Vicky. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Norvin. Good morning, Irene. I'm so glad that so many of you were able to join. Good morning, Carol. All right, and before we move on to our guest speaker, here are a couple of agents that we have hired. So as I mentioned, we've hired about 20 agents in the last 2 months. These agents, of course, have joined since the last sales meeting. We've got Vera Case, Eric Jensen. We're still waiting on their photos. Feel free to send those over to me when you've got them. We've got D. Ellis, Kiara Nahera, Mark Pape, Misty Emerson, and Lisa Weiss. So again, just really, really good people. Thank you. And if you're not pictured here, it's because we haven't gotten your picture or we're still processing you. So feel free to reach out with that picture and we'll get you added. So welcome, everybody. All right, so diving right in, our first guest speaker here, we have Nick Bokone, who many of you know. He's Smedra's Public Affairs and Consumer Outreach Consultant. And I wanted to get Nick to come online here and talk about the value of the Board of Realtors. So, so many new agents have joined us. Many of you existing agents, you know the purpose of the board, but maybe you don't. Maybe you forget what they're doing for our industry. And yes, being a realtor, it's a designation for your name. So you're held to a higher standard than agents who are not members of a realtor association. The code of ethics. They provide tons of great training opportunities. They provide lockbox services. But more than that, what are they doing way up at the top, at the legislative level? And there's nobody better than Nick Bokone to passionately talk about all of the things happening at the legislative level. And what I mean by that, there's a group of people who represent us way up at that legislative level to make sure laws aren't being passed that affect our industry, the rights of homeowners. So to me, yes, all that other stuff is important, the classes, the lock boxes, the reputation as realtors. But I would argue the most important piece is that group of people way up at the top of the chain who are watching out for our industry. And that's why we're such big believers in the board. So without further ado, I see Nick is waiting here, and we're going to pull Nick into the conversation. And we'll get him on screen here. And I believe we've got you now, Nick. Can you hear me okay? We'll let you get connected to audio. Nick, can you hear me?
I've got you.
Awesome. Good morning. How's it going today?
It's going great. Good to see you and good to see everyone.
Are you getting a lot of snow up there?
It is coming down. It is starting to come down. Oh, everybody's welcome to come and help me plow out. Come on up, Paul.
Well, I'll see what I can do after this sales meeting here. We'll come up that way.
Sounds good.
Bear with me, Nick. I'm going to get you on screen here.
Okay.
Again, Equity agents, you're so kind. There's a lot of technology happening. Okay. So Nick, I've given you a brief introduction. I've explained you are the Public Affairs and Consumer Outreach Consultant for Smedra. And today we're kind of talking about the value of the board of realtors and, everything going on way up there at the legislative level that people might not be aware of. And so, yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
You bet. Absolutely. Paul, if I could ask two things real quick. First, do you have an idea of how many folks are with us since we can't see?
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's kind of a strange dynamic. It feels like it's just you and me talking right now. Currently, we've got 30 people online, and I see that number increasing and decreasing. So I should give you a subject, 30 people.
It'll be decreasing once they start hearing me. And then secondly, our internet is being a little bit wonky today. If you have problems receiving me, give me the high sign. It might work better. I'll turn my camera off and keep going and see if that works.
Perfect.
Okay?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Okay.
And yeah, I will monitor comments and stuff as well. So as we have questions, any questions for Nick, be sure to drop those in the comments section.
Sounds great.
And Nick, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to talk to so many of our friendly Equity Colorado agents. I hope there are a lot of friendly faces in the virtual room. I wish I could see you guys, but love your office, love working with you. And I'm excited at the opportunity to talk to you just a little bit about some of the things that are indeed going on today. Paul had mentioned to me that we're having a discussion and to frame the idea of what the association is doing for our rank and file members. And I can tell you, at least speaking in terms of the legislative process, a lot is going on and a lot is affecting the industry. So I hope you'll agree with me on these few details that I'm going to share with you of things of you really getting value for your association dollar and for your association membership. Our state legislature right now is about halfway through their work. So they'll be ending sometime in May. This is the point in time where they start talking about the budgets in Colorado. And the budget isn't necessarily a problem this year. There's, I don't want to say lots of money, but there's money to fund the programs that are definitely needed. And there's money to fund things that our legislators are considering right now. So it's not a dire budget year, but this is the point in time where things start slowing down. And then once they get their hand around a budget, they'll start throwing ideas together in big bills that have lots of different topics. A couple things that we're keeping our eye on that affect the industry. Paul, I think we're probably just starting this meeting, so I'm not sure if you have talked about it yet, but obviously every office right now, every real estate office is talking about inventory and about the market. And our state legislators are noticing too. And true to form, when you put someone in public office, they want to solve all problems. And some things are not solvable. We like to think that the market ebbs and flows and strengthens and weakens and does what it does. But that doesn't stop some of our elected officials from addressing some things that they think can help. And I'm going to give you two ideas that are in consideration at the legislature right now. Neither one of them, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're good. Carr hasn't taken a position on either one, but that's why we watch. We pay attention to things that are affecting our industry. The first one is it is indeed in bill form. There's a bill floating around right now to incent homeowners with a $500 yearly stipend to rent out their vacant bedrooms. Now, whether that's a good idea, bad idea, or otherwise, what we've seen at local municipalities around the state, and specifically here in the South Metro area in Aurora, there have been discussions about vacancy taxes, about actually putting homes on the official rolls, counting up the number of bedrooms that are being used or not used, and taxing homeowners who don't use their vacant bedrooms for the purposes of solving our homelessness problem or any of the other problems associated with affordable housing. That, folks, is a bad idea. And that is something that we will pay very close attention to at the local level as well as state level. So when legislators start talking about incenting rather than taxing, it at least raises our antennae and gets us engaging in the discussion about it. So once again, that's certainly not going to solve an inventory problem, but it's an example of our state legislators being cognizant of the things that are affecting our business and your business, and they want to address it. It looks like this idea will likely die in the next couple days. It's one of those ideas that's not fully fleshed out, and there's a lot of ramifications about what it would do, how it works, how it's funded, what are the parameters. So, legislation is intended to move slowly, so it gets well thought out and it gets debated and deliberated. But it's an example of one of the things that affects our industry. The second example along the inventory front, it looks like within the next 2 weeks, we will have a bill, again, whether it gets passed or not, I don't know, but we'll have a bill that will provide statewide tiny home standards, procedures, and kind of a minimum threshold within the statewide building code. So this is something that some of our resort communities have addressed in local ordinances. Denver has addressed it. I think you all have been around that issue a little bit, but it hasn't been addressed everywhere. And this bill is coming from a state legislator in Longmont. And it looks like it has momentum. So the idea of providing minimum standards, tiny homes kind of fit somewhere in between mobile homes and actually, single family residential. You don't really own the land, so that means it could go, the tiny home could go somewhere else. So our legislators are dealing with those questions right now. Will it solve the affordable housing problem? Absolutely not. We all know Colorado is a very expensive place to live and it's in high demand. So I wanted to give you an example of two ideas that are happening at the state level that really affect our business. So kind of stay tuned on that stuff. CAR is doing a good job keeping us informed of these things and will continue to do so as they move forward. We're not going to build our way out of this housing shortage overnight, and we're not going to legislate our way out of this housing shortage overnight. But I want our members to understand that, all of these things are looked at in the big picture. And from our point of view, we look at it the way that affects our industry and our business and your bottom line. One other one I want to bring your attention to. This is funny. I give you these things that may or may not happen, but it's the nature of the legislative process. Not unlike you all putting a deal together. It's not a certainty at first substantive contact that you're going to get a deal out of it. You gotta work the system. There is a bill in the legislature right now that will allow for a statewide referendum in November. So this will likely be a ballot issue, and it's probably going to happen. The devil is in the details. There is a discussion about limiting property tax increases on a year-to-year basis. They're talking 3%, they're talking 5%. There's a lot of different ideas floating around right now. The idea obviously is this is a very expensive state, and property taxes are continuing to rise with the value of homes. The devil's in the details, and there are states around the country. I bet there are folks in this virtual room who used to practice real estate in perhaps California, perhaps Florida, where there was a Save Our Homes tax cap and amendment. It led to problems for the real estate industry. Let me give you a quick example. They're talking about capping it at, the first one that I heard, it's fluid. First one I heard is capping it at 3% increase every year. It gets reassessed at the time a home is sold or a transaction happens. So I'm in a home 15 years, my taxes go up no more, according to this, if it passes, no more than 3% every year. A great equity agent helps me sell my home, and the person coming into the state of Colorado, hypothetically, buys that home, and then the property gets reassessed at the current ad valorem value. So Nick has been paying up a little bit each year. That new person comes in and gets reassessed at likely a very higher rate than I had been those last 15 years, or at least in year 15. In other states, they turn around and say, hey, realtor, why didn't you tell me? Or why aren't you an expert on the tax problem? So some states have solved it with disclosures. Some states have solved it with passing the responsibility on to the tax assessors and the county offices. I don't know. So I'm not saying any of this is going to happen in Colorado, but it looks likely that we are talking about a tax cap referendum, and your state association of realtors is most assuredly making a discussion about how that impacts the real estate industry. So lots of variables. Stay tuned on that one, but this is one that I care about it very passionately. I believe in ad valorem taxes. You're taxing at the value, the Latin ad valorem. I think it would be very strange and very confusing if my home, I've been in it for 15 years, gets taxed at a particular rate, and an identical home right next door to me that has been transacted 3 times in the last 5 years has a very different rate for a very similar footprint and a very similar home. So good ideas often lead to complications and unintended consequences. And that's what we're watching in this case. So Paul, that's kind of a quick recap on the legislative stuff. We still good to kind of touch on some of the other stuff for a little bit?
That's great, Nick. And we just appreciate that. One quick question, where can we track these kinds of updates on the 3 pieces that you mentioned? Where would be the best place to keep an eye on those items?
That's a great question. CAR facilitates an online bill tracker that I will share with you, Paul. Perfect. So you can share with the group. It tracks the bills that we're paying attention to. And the way that process works is CAR has a legislative policy committee. It has 4 or 5 subcommittees like taxation and housing and water and all those things. There are realtors from around the state that they literally read each bill as it comes in, and then they debate it from a real estate perspective. And they take positions of oppose, support, monitor, which means just keeping our eye on it, or amend, meaning, we might consider supporting if you change this bill. So that gives the state association direction. It's all done at the realtor level. So I will share that with you, Paul, after this.
Perfect. Meeting. Thank you, Nick.
Okay.
And
sounds good.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say to all the agents watching, I mean, if you want to increase your value and you're looking for things to do to build your business and stay informed, Nick just touched on just 3 quick little things. If you are able to keep ahead of the game and talk to people about things that are going on way up there at this legislative level, that makes you a better agent. You're in the know. So get involved. And I think that'll kind of segue us into Nick's.
Absolutely. You're good at segues and transitions, Paul.
Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
What Paul just said really matters at the local level. And there is value if you're sitting in a living room or making a listed presentation or talking to a prospective client and you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on. And our job at the association is to continue to arm you with those things. So I don't know if my old friend Steve Harder is in the room. Steve, hi, if you are. If you're not, that's fine. Steve is involved in our candidate screening process. And we evaluate candidates based on, will they be good for the real estate industry in the future? And everybody has their own opinions, Democrat, Republican, Independent. We talk about real estate issues and we try to get people elected that score high on realtor issues. But what Steve can attest to is we sit in a room with these folks, or even virtually these last couple of years, and ask them what are their opinions on property taxes and what are their opinions on short-term rentals and all of the things that affect our business and your business. And man, there is no better way to get to know these folks than to sitting in a room with them and discussing them. So I would very strongly encourage you through this summer, we'll be doing some training for our candidate screening process that will kind of happen late summer leading up to fall elections. This is an even year, so a lot of our elections that we'll all be paying attention to happen at the state and national level. Local things tend to happen on odd years that end in odd numbers, but there is still Arapahoe County Commission, for example, so we'll be interviewing that. So yes, I think, Paul and group, there is a tremendous value in what the association can do for you in terms of arming you with knowledge to help your clients and consumers, as well as very flatly and very bluntly protecting the industry. And Paul had asked me to touch on this, and I'll tell you, I don't think we have a better example of the association's value. And I know I'm partisan and I'm biased in this, but during the pandemic, I can tell you factually, I never, in the 20 some years I've been doing this, I never talked to as many public health officials as I did specifically in that first year. And how much our state association worked with the governor's office at keeping real estate on the essential list. That did not happen organically. I can tell you very factually, that happened because of your RPAC contributions and because of your association's ability to build relationships with decision makers like county commissioners and the governor's office. And to the extent that NAR was involved in that at the national level as well, so our members of Congress. There were states where real estate did not stay on the essential list. We all know this. It happened in Pennsylvania. It happened in New Mexico for a time. It happened in Montana. It happened in a couple other states as well. But that didn't happen in Colorado. And again, I'm biased in this, but if you're looking for what your association has done for me lately, our ability to transact business stayed. It didn't stay exactly the same. We all know that, but it stayed relevant and it stayed open. We stayed open for business during all of that. So I am pretty proud of that. I hope that doesn't sound too arrogant, but we were pretty doggone hard at that. And it was a strange, strange time. So we continue to reinforce, what real estate means to this economy at the local level and at the state level. I can tell you factually that our good friend Mayor Stephanie Pico in Centennial does not do anything related to housing, affordable housing, or real estate market without calling us. And that's, again, that's not bragging. It's just that she and lots of our elected officials understand what the association and what our industry represents to the backbone of this economy. So I wanted to give you one last pitch. If you believe in this stuff, and I hope you do, your association dollars pay for a big portion of the advocacy element, but it is your voluntary RPAC dollars. These are funds that you choose to contribute in order for us to be relevant during election time. It's when we screen those candidates. It's when we work on those ballot issues like property tax caps. That's when your RPAC dollars, your voluntary dollars, provide the backbone for our association and for our advocacy efforts. So I'd love for you to consider contributing. You can do it at $10, you can do it at $1,000, you can do it at 100 or any point in between. But it is your opportunity to say, you know what? My association did protect me through all of this. And it's because of RPAC and because of advocacy that I can transact business and be successful, like all of these agents are that I know are in the room right now, who will all be very likely recognized at the Diamond Circle celebration in late April. RPAC is a big reason for our success, and I believe in it strongly. So the final RPAC pitch is that there are still a couple spots available. Carr is doing a virtual tequila tasting at the end of March. I believe it's March 26th. I don't know if I have that right or not. I'll give that to Paul. There are 3 spots left out of 35 statewide. It is an opportunity for you to contribute. It is $300. They send you the tequilas, and then we're with an expert for an hour about different tastings. Those of you who know me know I enjoy cocktails and I enjoy creativity with cocktails. So I'll be participating in this. And it's a good chance for you to kind of get something in addition to the great legislative protection that RPAC provides. So I'll give that information to Paul. Paul, did you get any more questions coming out?
I just thank you so much, Nick. I mean, you hit it on the head. And I just want to quickly recap that. Yes, you get the lock boxes. Yes, you get training classes. Yes, you get all of these discounts on various tools that you can use in the industry. But this right here is the key element as to why we're such big believers in it. There's a group of people watching out for us, for our industry. And that's why we pay our dues right there. So I hope this showcases some of the value for our industry and why we are members of a Realtor Association. So thanks, Nick. You are awesome. We always learn so much from you.
And if I can put a 30-second cap on that, Paul. We know that you don't become an association member for the national rental car discounts. Everybody understands that. Those are ancillary. Those are things that all groups of associations and trade organizations can do. I think I like the way Paul summarized it better than I can. We, in addition to the lock boxes, the education, all those things, this is us and our industry standing up and protecting ourselves. This is a country and a government designed to have competing interests. We are all competing on an open market, on an open scale, whatever the right noun is. If we don't do it, if we don't stand up for our industry, no one else is. And that's very important to me. So thanks, Paul. Thanks, gang. Thanks for the time. So Paul, I owe you legislative bill tracker, and I owe you RPAC tequila information.
Yep, perfect. We'll watch out for it. We do have one quick question if you're still okay on time. So this question comes from Dominic Gianfrancesco. Is the state considering any legislation regarding the special tax districts being set up for new developments? I think you.
Wow. I am so glad that Dominic brought that up. This is not an easy topic to navigate. Paul, I'll take about a minute or two. Cool.
That's perfect. Yep, we're right on time.
Okay. Yes, and the state association is very involved in that. There is an effort to provide, I think one of the things that we all want as consumers and as a real estate specialist involved in taxing districts, we want as much transparency as possible. So there is a bill in the legislature right now asking for more transparency of special taxing districts on the electability of those officers that sit on the board of special taxing districts, as well as future taxing needs, proposals, or at least budgets from where the tax district revenue is going to. Dominic, I can't tell you at the moment how that's going to turn out. I believe CAR is in a monitor position because there's a bit of a devil in the details, but our state association is most assuredly on the side of more transparency for the way taxing districts are created, how they are staffed, how they're, who sits on the district board and how the revenue is spent. So I will highlight that one, Paul, on the legislative bill tracker that I sent to you, because that is indeed on the table right now.
That's great. Thank you so much, Nick. And yes, we'll send out a recap with all the information that Nick has for us. And thank you so much for your time, Nick. We always learn so much from you. And get involved, equity agents. If you're looking for a place to get involved, go down to Smedra, and they're there for you. They're here to help as a resource and help you grow personally and professionally. So thank you, Nick.
Thanks for the time, Paul. See y'all later.
Yeah.
Take care.
You have a good rest of your day. We'll see you.
My friend. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. All right, everybody, that's Nick Bokone for you. And that is the value of being a realtor. That one comes up all the time. So I wanted to spend some time on that today. If you have any other questions, reach out through the comments section. We can, forward those questions on to Nick. He's a great resource and just such a nice, down-to-earth, fun, approachable person. So reach out with any questions. All right, and then let's see what else is on our list for today. We're going to go back to our presentation, and I believe, bear with me here, we've got Amir Razi of Own Home Loans providing a mortgage update. So I'm going to back out of our presentation. I'm going to pull Amir back in. And for those of you who don't know, we do have an in-house mortgage company. And I say that, most of you know this, but we do have an in-house mortgage company for those agents who have joined us in the last couple of months. And Amir and Brianna, they're just here as a resource to answer questions about the mortgage world. And so let's pull Amir in. And let's see if we can hear Amir. Are you there, Amir? Are you there, Amir? Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Amir? I think we've got him.
Oh, I can hear you.
There you are. How's it going today, Amir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for your patience. We were running a little behind on schedule, but
no problem. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Of course. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to have to give you screen share. So we are live. There's about 30 people watching, and I gave you a quick little intro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead and try out your screen share. Is that
all right? Let me know if you can see that.
Yep, we can see that. Let me go into full screen mode, Amir. Give me 1 second here. And we're going to click that there. Technology. It always takes a little bit to get stuff going. All right, Amir. Amir, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you for joining us on this snowy morning. And yeah, I told the group you're our in-house lender. And what do you have for us today?
Oh, well, thanks for the introduction. I guess I won't have to introduce myself, but yeah, good morning, everybody. And thanks for having me. I appreciate the introduction, Paul. So I won't repeat that, but yes, we are the in-house lender for Equity Colorado. And today I'm just going to share a couple things about what we are seeing agents have success with in getting offers accepted. A little bit about some cash sources, and then just a tiny bit about us. So I will try not to go over my time. I'll try to stick to that pretty closely here. And I've got my little timer going right now. So
plenty of time.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. I am just going to hop right in. I have a very quick announcement that I would like to share. And let's see if my slides are working. Oh, there we go. Okay. For those of you that have been getting the free appraisals or the appraisal credit for your buyers, that has been extended through the end of April. So we still are doing the $600 credit, but now it's going through the end of April. We have some more exciting product announcements coming up. We are just going to post those on the Facebook equity page. So just be sure to check that out for some of the new products we have, like our 3.5% jumbo and our 10% down, no mortgage insurance. But outside of the plugs, one thing I really want to share is some of the characteristics of accepted contracts. What do contracts look like that are getting accepted? Now, this is what I'm seeing from our perspective as contracts come in. And so I'm just sharing this. There's obviously a lot of things that might fall outside of this box, but there are some themes that we're seeing in the super, super tight market. And we've had a lot of success against cash offers, against higher prices. Now, obviously, you have to be in the ballpark on price, right? That's kind of one of the big things today. But we are seeing agents who are really dialing in to find out what sellers are looking for, and really connecting with that listing agent, building rapport. And the listing agent is divulging, what's most important. Does the seller want to stay in the house for some extra time? Are they worried about what the inspection process is going to be like? Are they trying to close quickly? All of those things matter. And that's why it's really important to dial in to the seller's priorities and really get a good understanding. Now, nothing is going to substitute for, a $50,000 price gap, right, between you and another offer, right? You have to be in that ballpark. But once you're in the mix, these details will start to separate your offers. So with a financed offer, they become, I think, even more important. So waiving contract objections, contingencies, appraisal contingencies, loan availability, things like that. Well, you have to have a super solid lender to do that from the get-go, right? And your buyer has to have confidence to do that. So those things make a big difference. Now, most buyers who are covering these large appraisal gaps and have the means to do so, they don't really need an appraisal objection because they're already kind of giving that away from the get-go with a large appraisal gap. Some agents I've seen just waive the appraisal deadline. Now, if you do waive the appraisal deadline, make sure you have something in your special provisions that grants access for the appraiser, because you can't forget about that, right? The appraiser still has to potentially get into the house. So make sure you still have a backdoor to get the appraiser into the house. But there's a big list of appraisal objections and contingencies that we're seeing waived. Now, if your buyer's buying a condominium or an HOA, definitely don't waive the HOA, the Owners Association deadlines. That's not a good idea. But you can time those with an inspection deadline, things like that. Almost everybody, even cash offers, are going to have inspection deadlines. They're usually about a week or so out, give or take. So use that to your advantage. If your other deadlines fall, within that inspection deadline, most sellers tend to not care too much because they know that inspection deadline is pretty open-ended. So waiving objections, contingencies, there's a lot more to it than I can cover here. If you'd like to go into detail on how that all works, please call me, and I'd be happy to share some strategies that we use. Fast closing times, we're seeing a lot more of this to give sellers kind of that certainty that they're not going to have to worry past a certain time. So we're seeing a lot of contracts in 3 weeks or less. We can close your loans very easily in 3 weeks. We can close your loans in less time than that, which I'm about to talk about a little bit more here on the next slide. We are seeing larger earnest money deposits on average. I would say we're seeing more earnest money deposits in that kind of 2 to 3% range. Now we're seeing, stuff in kind of that normal 1% earnest money range as well, but we're starting to see that kind of creep up to help entice sellers to accept offers. And we're seeing a lot more escalation clauses. I think an escalation clause is super handy if you just can't quite, get your bearings on what that price has gone up to, right? If you just listing agent isn't sharing anything and you just can't get an idea, an escalation clause is really handy to keep your buyer in the mix, especially if they're bidding on a house that they really want to fight for. If they fall in love with it, they really want to fight for it. They have the wherewithal, the funds and all that stuff to do it. An escalation clause can be a really powerful tool, and we're seeing much more of those. Now, if you want to close a buyer this month, I'm just sharing a little bit of an example of what I would probably propose as deadlines, assuming, you got your contract mutually accepted, let's say next Monday, the 14th. Yes, we can close that loan if you wanted us to. If you got a contract accepted next Monday, we could still close it this month for you. But the big key is that your buyer is pre-approved. We have never not closed a loan for a buyer that we've pre-approved. Of course, there's exceptions to that, right? We've had people that have failed inspection and things like that, but I'm talking about lending issues, right? Something on the lending side causing a problem. So we haven't had that happen. I'm going to knock on my wooden desk here. But if you wanted to close this month, get your buyer in, get them pre-approved prior to the weekend, prior to them going out and shopping or whatever. We'll be answering our phones Saturday and Sunday. So you guys are taken care of. You get quick responses. Most of the time, we will pick up our phone right away. I might pick it up and I might have, my daughter screaming in the background, but I'm going to pick up the phone call. So, you can reach out to us, but let's say you get an accepted offer on Monday. The appraisal deadline, if you put it in there, I would probably put that around March 25th. We like to, we'd probably get it in before that time. But that gives you some leeway. And I'm going to come back to the appraisal deadline here in a second about waiving it and things like that. But the big thing I think that I'd like to emphasize on these little bullet points here is the loan terms deadline. I've seen some agents very smartly take advantage of the new loan deadlines. And I'm seeing some agents just not take advantage of it at all. And the loan terms deadline is a really kind of cool deadline to have if you have a very fast lender, because it kind of gives the buyer any reason they want to get out of the contract. And they just don't have to be happy with the loan terms. You can use that loan terms deadline in lieu of loan availability with some very small risks, which I'll talk about in a second, but you can use that loan terms deadline to your advantage. Now, let's say we have a contract that gets accepted on Monday, March 14th. We are already going to have that buyer completely pre-approved. So we've already kind of checked and done our QC on everything anyway, but it's going to get submitted to underwriting with the contract. The underwriter is going to have that loan fully underwritten for us either that Monday, that same day, within a few hours, or if we get the contract a little bit later in the day, the following Tuesday morning. Now, the beauty of this is if there's anything weird with the property or something else, the underwriter is going to notify us of that. And we're essentially going to know exactly what the risk profile of this property and everything else looks like really before that loan terms deadline expires. And so The seller isn't going to pay too much attention to it, most likely because they know the inspection deadline is beyond that. The loan terms deadline is only a couple days out, and we're basically fully underwritten prior to that deadline. So, keep that in mind. If your buyer's fully pre-approved and they have that loan terms deadline, the loan availability deadline doesn't really give them that much extra security. Now, there are things that can happen. Somebody can lose their job, these kind of very outside, edge case scenarios. So I don't want to pretend that there's zero risk for your buyer, because that's not true. If they lose their job, they could lose it past the normal loan availability deadline anyway. So you kind of have to weigh those risks, and you have to explain them to your buyer, and, they've got to know what's happening. But if they really want to fight for the house, these are some ways that we are having some success. Now, of course, keep your inspection termination deadline. I just put that a week out. And again, just a reminder, don't waive your association deadline, especially on a condominium or a townhome. But we're having some really good success with these types of strategies against cash offers, even some higher priced offers, things like that. If it's done smartly, and the way to do it smartly is to prepare, get your buyer pre-approved early, having an experienced loan officer that can explain all of these things to them. They know the risks, they're going to weigh them properly, give them confidence, is a big deal. So that's super important. Now, waiving the appraisal stuff, right? Well, most buyers right now have quite a bit of cash. Now, not all of them do, and we're going to talk about that here a little bit, because to cover an appraisal gap, well, they need some funds to do that. And I still amazingly see people ignoring resources that buyers have. Now, one common trend I do see is buyers don't always want to disclose to their agent certain funds that they might have access to. And I think this is especially true with retirement funds. And this is where having an experienced loan officer makes a big difference, because you really want that buyer to tell you everything they have available to them. And a lot of them don't want to share it because they just don't want to use it. But if they know that they don't have to use it, that it can just be used as a tool, it makes a huge difference. So, leveraging retirement accounts could get your buyer to where they need to be. Maybe equity on an existing home, a HELOC, a bridge loan, things like that. Or maybe, they have an aunt or uncle that is willing to give them some gift money. So, having more money available is a incredibly important thing right now, not only to cover down payment, but also to cover appraisal gaps and things like that. So finding all of those resources makes a big difference. Now, one thing I think some agents don't realize is when a buyer is leveraging a retirement account or a brokerage account, or basically taking a loan against their retirement account or their brokerage account, on most loan products, like 90%, that is not going to be counted against their buying power. In other words, it's not going to be counted against their debt ratio. Whereas a HELOC, a bridge loan, or something like that, most likely will be. So a nice thing about borrowing against a retirement account is that you still have the most buying power. With higher interest rates, that can make a difference. So keep that in mind. Now, I've had some buyers that were planning on taking a home equity loan, but they have a huge retirement account. I told them to call their plan provider. Ask them, what are the consequences of borrowing against my retirement? They did that. The consequences are very minuscule. In some cases, they're just paying interest to themselves. They sell their home, reimburse their retirement account, and it puts them in a much better scenario from a loan perspective, because we're not counting that loan against their debt ratio. How am I doing here? Okay, getting close. So those are some resources, but typically agents don't ask those questions, they want the loan officer to do it. But if your loan officer doesn't dig in, you may just be working with somebody who has, 100 grand in their 401k and nobody knows. Nobody knows about it. And they just kind of sit on the wayside, placing offers that are much weaker than what they can actually do, and just getting frustrated. So it's really important to have somebody that's super experienced working with them. So I'm getting a little tight on time. I have a few things about what makes us different, but I'm just going to focus on this first one here because I got a lot of questions on this when I did the Monday morning with Hannah Stacy recently, but we don't have processors at OWN. We just don't have a need for them. We like to save our buyers that money, but more importantly, it removes a human between the loan officer and the underwriter. So I get to call the underwriters directly. I know exactly what's going on with our files in real time. The chance that the processor makes a mistake gets removed. The time frame it takes from putting the file on the processor's desk and then them giving it to the underwriter gets removed. There's just tons of benefits to this type of system. This is what I used to do in Texas a long time ago. And I just think it creates a much better workflow for a lot of reasons. So that is a big differentiator between us and a lot of companies. I actually don't really know any companies that just take the processor out of the equation. Processors are amazing, by the way. I don't want to give processors a bad name. They're great, but I think there's just a better way to do things. So a few other things on here. We answer our phones, Appraisal Direct, single point of contact. And then, of course, our clients and agents are very happy. So if you have a chance, take a look at our Google review page. And I don't know if there's any questions, but here is our contact information. And I appreciate you guys letting me just kind of ramble on for a little while there. So thank you.
That was great as always. And I just wanted to follow up. It's so hard to get offers accepted right now. And all of you who are looking to strategize, this is what Amir and Brianna are here for. I don't think there are very many lenders in this industry who strategize and walk through in this level of detail, strategies for getting an offer accepted. So reach out to Amir and Brianna. They're amazing. And Amir, we do just have one quick question, if you're okay on time.
Yeah.
Norvin Massey, he's asking, are you noticing that under the current market conditions, are FHA inspections becoming less stringent?
So that's a really good question. I would not say that FHA inspections are becoming less stringent. I think it completely depends. And what I'm assuming the question is here is, when you say FHA inspections, I'm assuming you're talking about what the appraiser is seeing, right? What that FHA appraiser is seeing, because FHA has, certain, property requirements. They're not as the same level as the VA, for example, but it's really, it's an individual, right? That's going out there, and it's heavily going to vary based on the individual. So for us, if we can put somebody into a conventional loan instead of an FHA loan, we're typically going to try to do that. It's not just because of the higher likelihood of them getting their offer accepted, but it's also because typically, conventional financing is better, even if their rate's a little bit higher at the beginning. The fact that they can remove their mortgage insurance at some point in time with the conventional loan is going to typically be better in the long run. Now, there are situations in FHA loans, if you put more than 10% down and things like that, where your mortgage insurance might fall off. But for the most part, we may try to put them into a conventional loan because we have very few overlays on our conventional loans, and we can do a little bit more than a lot of lenders can. We're really sticking incredibly close to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines on conventional financing. So where another lender may have an overlay that might push that person into an FHA loan, we typically have very few. Now, it doesn't mean we don't do FHA loans, but we typically can open our conventional conforming box a little bit more than a lot of lenders can to get them into a conforming loan. But the original question, I'm not seeing any trends as far as reduced FHA inspection items, but I'd be curious if people are seeing that. I don't think that's a thing, at least not that I'm aware of. So
Awesome.
Thank you for the question.
Well, thank you, Amir. So informative as always. We just so appreciate you and your wealth of knowledge. So yeah, anybody has questions for Amir or Brianna, reach out. Contact information is on screen. And I wanted to thank you again, Amir. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So now I'm going to, and Amir, I think you're still screen sharing here.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I know it takes a little time to get the controls going. There we go. Thanks, Amir. All right, so good resources. We're going to keep it moving here. We've got about 10:54. We got about 20 minutes left. And let me jump over. We're going to screen share again. And the next piece on our list today, getting my windows all organized. I hope you're all still with me. Our favorite piece, we're going to be doing a pop quiz. I think that's what's next on our agenda. So I wanted to just quickly say, this is backed by popular demand. These pop quizzes are so fun just to keep it, some friendly competition and talk about questions that come up frequently. So what I've done, I've compiled a list of questions that we get regularly on our contract support hotline. And we're going to run through this. And the first person to answer the question correctly in the comments section will win a $10 gift card. And for sake of time, I think we're probably going to do about 5 questions. So get your fingers ready. I hope you're still with me. I will warn you, there is about a 5-second delay here between when I'm saying things to when it comes through on screen. So we're going to have to be patient with the delay here. But as we go through these questions, type your answers into the comments section, and I will do my best to monitor these answers. And whoever wins will get a gift card for each question. So are you ready? Here we go. We need the Jeopardy music. Okay, here we go. So the first question number 1. What is the maximum number of days a seller can remain in a property after closing under the standard post-closing occupancy agreement? Standard post-closing occupancy agreement. How long can a seller remain in the property under the standard post-closing occupancy agreement? We'll let some answers come in. We have our winner already, but I'm going to see who else can answer this. All right, Lori. All right, Rocio. All right, Norvin. Way to go. All right, Maggie. All right, Joyce. I'm seeing lots of correct answers. So the correct answer, good job, Terry. Good job, Philip. Good job. The correct answer is 60 days. So 60 days is covered in the post-closing occupancy agreement. This is a question that still comes up. And after 60 days, the buyer and seller need to enter into a formal lease agreement. And I'm seeing so many right answers. Good job. So the one who takes it, Lori Sanders. Good job, Lori. So you will get a gift card for answering that question correctly. I'm going to jot down your name here. And again, first come, first serve. The first answer submitted is the one who wins the gift card, but I'm just so happy to see so many correct answers. Good job, everybody. All right. Are we ready for question number 2? I love these. These are just fun. Question number 2. I think we're getting into clear cooperation, another topic that comes up so often. How long can a listing remain in the coming soon status according to RE Colorado and the clear cooperation policy? And we'll allow for that little delay. Who's got the answers? Coming soon status. Good job, Rocio. Katie, close. Good job, Joyce. I see some answers coming in. Good answers. Good answers. Good answers. Good answers. Good job, Joyce. Good job, Dominic. Good job, Maggie. Good job, Irene. Good job, Norvin. Good job, Terry. I'm seeing so many correct answers. And drum roll, please. 7 days. So when you put a listing in the coming soon status, RE Colorado allows 7 days where it remains in coming soon status, which means only other agents are seeing that listing in the MLS system. And a listing is automatically pushed to the active status upon the 8th day. So good job. I'm seeing lots of good answers here. So many people got it right. And I believe Rocio Contelli, good job, Rocio. You were the first one to submit the correct answer. So you will win a $10 gift card. Good job. And of course, if you guys have questions about these answers as we're going through them, feel free to drop a comment in the comments section and we can elaborate further if needed. So 7 days in the coming soon status. Good job, everybody. I believe we have more clear cooperation questions. They unrolled clear cooperation probably about almost a year ago, I think, and questions are still coming up. So that's what we're touching on. So it leads us to question number 3. This is a good one. When does a listing need to be entered into the MLS? So you get a brand new listing, you sign a listing agreement. At what point do you have to add that listing to RE Colorado? Cue the Jeopardy music. We'll wait for the answers to come in. This is a tricky one. Maybe the wording is tough. I see your answer, Katie. Keep going, keep going. I see your answer, Joyce, Irene, Vicky, Norvin, good job. D, good job. Good job, Maggie. Good answer. I apologize there. Monitoring your answers here. Any other takers? Good job, Tara. Good job, Rocio. All right, this is a good one. So I believe you guys are so close and you're going to laugh at the next couple of questions. So the answer on this one, when does a listing need to be entered into the MLS? And this is clear cooperation. The answer, within 3 business days from the effective date of the listing agreement or listing period of your exclusive right to sell, or within 1 business day of marketing the listing to the public. So to specify, you sign your exclusive right to sell, and within 3 days of the listing period or the effective date at which your seller signs that listing agreement, that listing needs to be added into RE Colorado. And then on the opposite side of that, which I think, some of you had that same thought, 1 business day of marketing the listing to the public. If you put a sign in the yard or you post a flyer on your Facebook page, that's marketing to the public. And to give everybody a fair shot at that listing, 1 business day after marketing materials go out to the public, you would have to make sure that listing is active in the MLS. So I saw 1 correct answer right out of the gate, and the correct answer, 3 days, that goes to Norvin. And I believe Katie Markman, you said 24 hours, and I think you were getting at 24 hours of marketing the property. So I'm going to give that one to you as well. So good job, Norvin. Good job, Katie. Good job to everybody else who answered correctly as well. So I'm going to jot down Norvin and Katie. You guys will get a gift card. All right. And the 24-hour timeline, I think, we have a question coming up here as a little hint. Get ready for that one because you guys are on the right track here. But moving right along to question number 4. This is a big one. This one comes up all the time. When a listing is in the coming soon status, are showings allowed? This is probably the biggest clear cooperation question that comes up. And I think this is probably why clear cooperation was instated and implemented. Can a listing agent allow showings when the listing is in the coming soon status? Let's see. I see some answers coming through. Good job. Good job. Way to go, Maggie. Way to go, Terry. Way to go, Katie. Way to go, Irene. Good job, Norvin. I think we've got the majority answer here. Good job, Lori. Good job, Philip. Good job, Joyce. The correct answer, no. So this is clear cooperation. We hammer this one all day long. The listing must be in the active status before showings are allowed. And this also includes broker showings and open houses. And a quick note here, usually a question that comes in on the hotline, I'm in the coming soon status. Can my seller accept an offer on the property? Yes, a seller can accept an offer that is written sight unseen while in the coming soon status, but no one is allowed to view the property. They're not allowed inside the property for a showing until the listing is in the active status. And that's to give a fair shot to all the buyers out there. But your seller can accept an offer that's written sight unseen, which isn't uncommon in this market with how crazy the demand is right now. So good job. I saw so many. I don't think we had one incorrect answer. No showings in the coming soon status. And the winner, based on my comments here, we got Maggie. Maggie got the gift card on that one. Good job, Maggie. So jot down your name. And how are we doing on time here? Let's see. 11:04. We'll do one more just because we're running out of time here. And so question number 5, what is Equities fee for referral transactions? And I gave you a hint. Are you reading the weekly update emails? The answer was included in this week's weekly update email. So that's the hint there. Any answers? The transaction fee for referral transactions, as in you receive a referral commission. How much does Equity charge off the top of your referral commission? All right, I'm seeing some good answers. Keep them coming, keep them coming. Good job, Rocio. Good job, Carol. Good job, Norvin. I'm seeing your answers coming through. Lots of good answers. Katie, close. I think I see your train of thought here. We'll clarify in just a second. Good job, Dee. Good job, Lori. Okay, so the correct answer, Equities transaction fee, $150. So Katie, to kind of touch on whatever you negotiate was your answer. Yes, you can negotiate the referral commission amount. And to get a little more detailed here, you refer a client to another agent and say you ask for 25% or 30% of that commission when the deal closes. Equity only collects $150 off the top of your portion of the referral commission. So say you get a 25% referral commission, Equity only charges $150 on that. So great job. I'm seeing so many correct answers. And got to be quick. The winner goes to, I believe, Rocio Contelli. She's got the fast fingers this morning on those keyboards. Good job, Rocio. You were the first one to submit $150. So I'll write down Rocio. And thank you for participating. We always just really enjoy those. Those are a lot of fun. And for sake of time, we've got to keep things moving. And if you have questions that you think would be fun on these pop quizzes, let us know. You can, send me an email and we'll incorporate those. But I really enjoy these. And I think it's a fun way to learn, common questions that are coming up and get a pulse on what other agents are asking about in our market right now. So moving right along, I'll quickly show you what is Equity submission timeframe for a listing packet. We won't do the competition just because we're short on time. 24 hours of making the listing active in the MLS. So that's what I think a lot of you are thinking about. We need your listing packet within 24 hours of adding your listing to the MLS. And I think that was the only other one. How would a buyer formally withdraw their inspection objection? That's another common question we get. And just to review it while we're there, sign section 2 of the original inspection objection on or before the inspection resolution deadline. That one comes up all the time on the hotline. And I think we did this on our last pop quiz, so I figured I'd throw it in there again. Only way for a buyer to withdraw their inspection objection is to sign section 2 of the original inspection objection before the inspection resolution deadline. Because of course, if no inspection resolution is completed by the seller, the contract would automatically terminate upon the inspection resolution deadline. So you have questions on that, give us a call through the hotline. We'll be happy to clarify. I'm going to keep it moving because there's a ton of good stuff that I want to show you today. And again, backed by popular demand, you guys seem to respond pretty well to the Did You Know segment that we did at our last sales meeting, where I highlight some services or tools or systems back there in Elevate that you might not know about. And I've got some really cool ones for you today. So I picked 3. I'm going to go really fast through them. The first one, did you know you can make quick listing promo videos for social media in the Equity Marketing Center? So I must admit, we talk about these tools all the time. We all know about the Marketing Center, but as I try to find these fun highlights for you guys to use, I find new things back there all the time that surprise me. And I say, wow, that's really cool. And this is one of them. So in the Marketing Center, when you click the marketing button, you're brought to the Marketing Center. And when you select the video creator tool, there is a templated video creator where you can create slides and it converts it into a video. And I thought this was so cool because you could get creative with this. You could make videos such as, why I'm the right realtor for you, or accomplishments that you've, completed in your business. Whatever you want to do, you could do it. You just have to be creative and flexible. But the main resource to show you how this system works, I wanted to show you. We're going to promote a listing. So say you want to create a quick listing promotion video for a listing. Yes, you could manually add things. You could type the text, change the logo, add your photos manually. But did you know, the emphasis on did you know, you can copy your MLS ID. I've got a neat listing here from Marshall Marquardt, 2.9 up there in Boulder. All you have to do is copy this MLS ID, jump over to the video creator. You'll see on the left here, MLS lookup. You can click MLS lookup, paste in your MLS ID and hit search. And it will pull your listing up. You'll see right there, 300 Pine Needle Road. You click on that listing. You'll be prompted, do you wish to replace the content with the MLS data? If so, click yes to continue. And I hope this is where we get the oohs and the ahs. When you click yes, it pulls the information straight from your MLS listing into your slideshow. And of course, it'll pick the verbiage that you've included. So it highlights different things you've added to your MLS verbiage. And of course, you do have to double check and make sure that the writing is accurate. You'll see some words are cut off. So take your time with that. And you can change things, just to show you how the system works. Maybe you like the white logo better. So you click on the white logo, you jump down here, you select the white Equity Colorado logo here, just so it pops a little bit more behind the pictures, or in front of the pictures rather. You just have to make it fit within the cropped area, accept photo, use this image. And there we go, we've got the white logo. But then what's really cool, when you click play, pretty neat. So you get the idea, just so cool. I don't know how many of you guys knew this was back here, but I was pretty impressed with this system. And the best part, you can click download and the Marketing Center will email you a link to that video, which you can then post on Facebook or Instagram. And it's pretty impressive. So I like that. I think that's pretty neat. And hopefully you could see the video. I'm checking the comments just to make sure you're all with me. You're welcome, Terry. Good job, Rocio. You did not know Norvin. I'm glad. Irene, I'm glad this is pretty cool for you. Rita, I'm glad that you're liking what you're seeing. Yeah, play around with this. It's pretty neat. And if you have questions, if I went too fast, call me. I'm happy to walk you through some of these systems back here. The next piece, I'm not even going to jump back to the slideshow because we're running behind on time here. I wanted to express free CE classes through Thrive Education back here. Yes, we post about these in the weekly update, but did you really know the extent of the classes that are back here for free CE? So in Elevate, go down to the very bottom, click free CE classes, and you have access to Thrive Real Estate Education. And this is very similar to a platform like Van Ed or the CE Shop, but everything is free. And I actually got to take my annual commission update course through this platform, and I was really impressed with it. So much so that I wanted to spend some time to actually show you the classes that are available. So all you have to do is create a quick account after you've clicked on the free CE button in Elevate. And there's so much content back here. So Thrive is from the American Dream Real Estate School, and they have Thrive interviews. So how to maximize revenue, how to use YouTube to get referrals, real estate relationship. So great interviews and informational videos for you. But then when you get down to the courses, you'll see you can take the ACU update course, and it's very similar to Van Ed. So you choose a course. We'll take Avoiding Appraisal Issues with a Killer CMA. So how to price a property. And when you choose the course, it's set up very similarly to Van Ed. It tells you how much time you can, you'll probably be spending on this course. It's two CE credits. And you just click through the course materials, the course content, just like you would in Van Ed. So how many of you knew that that was back there? Yes, you probably have seen our emails about it, but I figure seeing the system, seeing the classes that you can take, that's pretty important because there's a lot of good stuff back there. So I have to keep it moving. Glad you guys are liking what you're seeing. Lori, yes, Elevate, just to show you where that was accessed. Hopefully it was the free CE. So Thrive, you jump into Elevate, scroll all the way down to the bottom, click free CE classes, and that will take you to the Thrive Real Estate Education platform. So you are welcome, Carol, Vicky, you are very welcome. Glad you guys are liking this. Terry, Bess, glad you guys are liking this. And I think we're caught up on comments. All right, everybody. So as we approach 11:15, I apologize, we went a little bit long here. The only other pieces that I wanted to run through, upcoming classes at Smedra. I picked 2 classes that are coming up at Smedra because they are important ones. We have agents reach out asking about wells, septic, propane, and water rights all the time through the hotline. And there is a detailed course coming up at Smedra on March 22nd, where you can learn all about wells, septic, propane rights. I mean, that's a question that just was posted in our Facebook group not long ago. So take advantage of the classes going on at Smedra. You can register at smedra.com. And then Google My Business. So Lisa Suazo is awesome. She has taught some classes for us here at Equity, and she's teaching Google My Business. So when people Google your name, how to get a Google profile for your business, how to optimize SEO so people are finding you in their Google searches. This is a free class to Smedra members. It's online via Zoom, and that's going to be on March 23rd. And all you have to do is log in at smedra.com to register. So those are 2 big courses I wanted to put on your radar. And before we get into the Power Pros and wrap up for the day, other quick updates and company announcements. I wanted you all to be aware of our next in-person sales and marketing meeting. That's going to be happening on Wednesday, May 10th, 2022. That's going to be at Smedra headquarters. So be sure to mark your calendar. Of course, we do so many virtual sales meetings, but this whole COVID stuff is finally subsiding and we are back to in-person events, and we're scheduling these throughout the year. So you can mark your calendar. We'll see you for breakfast, and let's make this a huge turnout so we can all see each other in person and network and meet with other equity agents. That'll be May 10th at Smedra. Couple quick updates on KV Core. It's still in progress. I know so many of you are eager to use that CRM. You've reached out with questions asking for updates. So I figured a general overview. We're still working on the KV Core platform. And the last I heard on a broker call, they're working towards scheduling a webinar directly with KV Core where they'll showcase some of the amazing features of the system. So be on the lookout in our weekly update. In our Facebook group, we'll of course post updates as we get more information from our corporate office. And then last two, contract support line, just a quick and friendly reminder to direct your contract and business practice questions directly to the hotline. And the reason for that, you've probably heard us say it, Todd, Stacy, and myself, we take turns monitoring that hotline. And the last thing we want you to do is text, our personal cell phones when we're not watching very closely. So the fastest way to get a hold of us, text or call or email the hotline directly. There's always somebody watching it 7 days a week. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. And last but not least, Broker Bay. Lots of you guys are asking about Broker Bay's showing service. We are working on establishing a company profile so you guys can use that service, but there's lots of moving parts to it. So I'm hoping we'll have more information by our next April virtual sales meeting. And for anybody who doesn't know, Broker Bay is a showing service that is making showing time, work for their services. I mean, Broker Bay, I've heard, is pretty cool. So we're excited to have more information, another service that you guys can use to set up showings for your listings. So I hope that helps. And last but not least, of course, I know I'm rushing. We're over time here. I appreciate your patience. Questions on any of the stuff I've gone through, feel free to call or email me. I'm happy to elaborate further. And last but not least, I wanted to acknowledge our February award winners, our power professionals. So of course, it's a smaller list. This inventory is just killing us right now, but you'll be happy to hear we're seeing more transactions. I think March's numbers we've already passed or quickly approaching the number of closings that we had in February. But the agents pictured here closed 2 or more transactions in February. And a hats off to Lori Sanders, who won the top sales and most transactions award with a total of 4 transactions and a total sales volume of 2.6 million. Great job, Lori. Congratulations to you. And Todd Smith, if you're watching, a huge shout out to you as well. You were right behind Lori, and I think Lori took the award because she had a slightly higher sales volume. I think Todd reached maybe 2.2, I want to say 2.4, so it was very close. So good job, Todd Smith, 4 transactions. Tanya Brown, 3 transactions. Judy Simpson, 2 transactions. Justin Savoy, 2 transactions. Diana Bartlett, 2 transactions. And Lisa Jones, 2 transactions. Great job, everybody. Round of applause. A quick reminder, these transactions are tallied based on deals that have closed and been paid out in the month of February. So just to keep that in mind, we'd love to see more of you hit this list. So keep up the good work. I know you guys are hustling out there. And as we continue to get more listings, these lists will grow. But something like, I think I heard Todd say 11,000 listings, 11,000 listings should be on the market right now currently. And we're at 1,100. So that just puts it into perspective how low our inventory is right now, but it's improving. I'm seeing more listings being taken on by equity agents. So keep up the good work. I think that is it. Congratulations to the Power Pros and new and coming soon listings. Of course, if you have any listings you'd like to promote in the comments section, go ahead and do that. And thank you for your patience in our slightly longer meeting today. I know I held you guys a little bit longer, but we're here if you need us. Call us with questions, concerns, and keep an eye out for the recap. I will send some more information about everything we discussed today, as well as Nick Bokone's follow-up information, some slideshow presentation slides from Amir Razi in his presentation, as well as the Q&A and Did You Know segment. You'll have that in your inbox by Friday of this week. So I will stop my screen share and thanks everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your week. If there's anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you for the kind words. I'm catching up on your comments. You're very welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you found this information valuable, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Take care.